Sorry for the delay. We're waiting for some to join us. A quick agenda for today. We'll have an intro of our community. Then we will join two of us as speakers, Maher and Marc. We will have a session Q&A, AI clinic session, where we will discuss some of challenges. And finally, we will have peer-to-peer networking.
So a little introduction about our community. Beirut AI is still a new and small community, but we're growing. We're actually part of a bigger community that's called City.AI. City.AI is available in more than 50 cities around the world, and we are proud to be part of this large community.
Our mission is to enable to use applied AI globally and locally. We host local quarterly events. We have ecosystem, which is we will have like a mapping between companies and our community, where we will enable the users to apply AI using any of resources. And we have education. So every 1 month, we will host technical events.
Okay, so my name is Beirut Souks and this is Nadine. We're the team behind Beirut AI. We are both machine learning engineers, and we're also looking for interesting, exciting people who can join our team and help us to grow this community. So if anyone's interested, please do get in touch.
As promised, we have a small announcement. Beirut City AI gets sponsored by NAR. Please welcome Charlie and Nicola.
Okay, so you said I have 5 minutes. That's it. I'll try to be as brief as possible. So hi everyone, my name is Charlie Khouri. I'm the co-founder CEO of NAR. This is my co-founder Nicola, co-founder and CTO of NAR. So basically, I'm gonna give a brief intro about what we do, very briefly. So, do any of you know about drones? Have you seen drones? In what context? Can you just tell us in what context? For example,
I have one.
Okay. What do you use it for?
Fun.
Just flying.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
all the first version.
Okay. Yep. Makes sense. So basically, this is one of the most popular and one of the earliest usage of a drone, which is for fun, to fly for fun or take pictures of weddings. Exactly, videos of weddings, Hollywood movie scenes. But recently, there was a big leap in this technology, and it's being used to inspect infrastructure. So for example, if I have pipelines in remote areas, or I have power lines, oh, you can take it if you want. Okay, so if you have assets in remote areas that you want to inspect, instead of sending people, now people are sending drones. They're safer, cheaper, and faster. But the big problem here is that the data you collect from drones is a bunch of videos and images that is raw data. Okay, and to make sense of it, they're manually processed. So it takes weeks or months to really know what's wrong with your asset. So basically, we're proposing a product called Raven AI. Okay, basically it's an AI platform, artificial intelligence platform, that would integrate with any drone in the market to automate this processing, as easy as this. So now we can directly, on the fly, pinpoint the deficiencies in your cellular tower, power line, pipelines, and all of that. First focus is oil and gas pipelines. We have clients in US, Canada. So part of what we do is build great technology. The other part is building an AI hub from Beirut. So this is when we met with Chris and Nadine. And we believe that we share the same vision in this. And we were fortunate actually to cross paths with you guys, especially that they have technical background. So they make them the best in driving this community forward. And we're very proud to announce this partnership to host events related to AI. And I've read something that's very important. It's applied AI. So there are hands-on sessions. You get to experience AI firsthand, which is amazing. So very excited for these workshops, these trainings, and hopefully we'll have a presentation fully about NAR where we can explain further what we do. Thank you guys. That's it.
Thank you, Charlie. We're also very excited to be collaborating with you guys.
Thank you.
So thanks also to our sponsors, Antwork and Touch, for hosting us here. Okay, so a little introduction about the speakers. So today we have two great speakers who have experience in chatbot from a business perspective and from a technical background. So first we have Maher Hassanieah, who is a CEO of PIKI. PIKI is a startup that specializes in chatbot development. He's going to talk to us about what is chatbots, how we can use them in businesses to improve our businesses. And also we have Marc El Asmar, who's a co-founder at PIKI, and he's going to talk to us about the technical perspective and chatbot development from a developer perspective. So please welcome Maher.
Hi guys. ليه قاعدين كثير ورا؟ حاسس هيك انه في please تقربوا شوي هيك let's make the session a bit more intimate.
ها؟ جيني.
Thank you. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Come on. Let's move on. Okay. So I'm not gonna bore you with a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna make the session a bit interactive. So please, anyone who has a question, wants to stop me in between what I'm saying, has a comment on what I'm saying, please feel free to go about it. So we're gonna go about talking about introduction to chatbots and the business case of chatbots and all of that related to it. So in the last 2 years, we've produced 90% of the world data. That's a huge amount of data that we have produced. And we are constantly being bombarded with information, whether online, whether offline, over social media, over radios, over TVs, internet, YouTube, etc. And there's quite a lot of information that is being bombarded out there. So how do we find the right information as users for us? How do we get to what we want quickly and straight to the point? That created the following scenario. 70% of users demand an instant answer. Users no longer want to reach a business via a phone code or email address. They want an instant answer. They want to reach it quickly. Actually, 64% of users or consumers prefer to reach a business via texting rather than calling them or emailing them. Automatically, that made a problem for businesses. So businesses now have 4 major problems, which are answering consumers quickly, grabbing the consumer's attention, and answering consumers in their medium or manner of choice, and understanding this consumer behavior that is changing. So the solution is very simple. Businesses need to listen, learn, and react to what consumers are going about, and they need to give them their answers in their medium of choice and their manner of choice. All of this can be done through a chatbot. So what are chatbots? Chatbots are software services that simulate a human conversation. These chatbots work through artificial intelligence, and they learn and evolve, and that's why they can mimic the human behavior. Chatbots augment the business's online presence. Chatbots can be integrated on websites, on apps, or on social media platforms like Facebook Messenger, Twitter, Skype, Slack, Kik, WhatsApp, etc. So at FIG, we create chatbots, right? Our chatbots are human-like, they're personal, they learn the preferences of the user and evolve. They empower businesses to have real-time engagement with their users, and we also give businesses visual data insights about the consumers and interactions that take place. This is an example of the first chatbot that we've done. It helps you shop for clothes. This is a chatbot which introduces itself, and you can just like ask the chatbot for clothes, basically. So here, We're asking them, I'm looking for a polo shirt. Chatbot would understand and give you the results directly. So here what we're trying to do is give the user the answer quickly, but that at the same time make the user more engaged by asking them further questions that keeps them in the loop, which act more as filters in terms of color, in terms of price. Now you'd see that happening as well. And then it gives us. So here we try to ask the user for feedback. We wanted to get the rating, get what the user wanted to see. But then again, if I just like go in and just skip some of the features or skip some of the filters there, and I just like asking for a black jeans or a black suit in particular, I just get it without the extra filters or questions. So it's kind of intelligent that it knows what to ask, when to ask, and etc. So this is the first chatbot that we did, and obviously we don't sell clothes, we're not an online shop, but we wanted to see and validate the value of chatbots for people. And we tried to see how people would interact with it and would react with it, and if they would have an enjoyable experience with it or not. And that proved to us that's a very good experience. So chatbots are designed to conduct conversations with humans. They learn the preferences and trends of users. And what's really cool about them is that users don't need to learn how to use a chatbot, because every one of us texts. We text people on WhatsApp, we text people on Messenger, we text people on SMS. We like to text, so we don't need to learn how to use them. So I'm not going to go into the tech, but I'm just going to speak very briefly about them. So the core is natural language understanding, which allows the chatbot to actually understand the language and process it. There's machine learning, which just allows it to evolve, and there is the part which goes for big data analytics, allowing the businesses to have insights and use that insights back again to help evolve the chatbot. So there are multiple industries that require chatbots. You can go from the call center support, which is the very basic case of a chatbot in which a chatbot would act as a support center. Second is retail, and I showed you an example of retail. Third, news and media, insurance, healthcare, banks, restaurants, hotels, and travel. Does anyone think that there is an extra industry here that's not mentioned that requires a chatbot?
Education. Governments.
Okay.
Governmental institutions. I mean, if you want to prepare certain documents, you want to know in advance everything and not wait at every stop. Oh, you forgot to, there's a missing paper, go somewhere else and
Yep.
fetch it.
Yeah. You were saying something.
Education.
Education. Yeah. Anyone else?
Events, maybe.
Events.
Yeah.
Okay. How so?
When you have big exhibitions, for example,
Yeah.
can help people to, you can help in advertising, selling tickets, and also during the event, staying in touch with information, maybe sharing like media, photos, images, something
Yeah.
like that.
So that's really cool, because we get to see how businesses or how people are actually gearing up and reacting to that market. In fact, the market is growing at 35% annual growth rate in terms of that. Gartner predicts that 80% of businesses will have some sort of chatbot automation by 2021. So that means this is a huge market covering all aspects of businesses, not just like these are just like here put some of the businesses that can actually benefit from having a chatbot. But effectively, you can think about it as it is the new interface, right? It's the new UI. It is the way we like to communicate with it. And apart from that, you can add as many services as you want on top of the chatbot. I'm going to show you another example of chatbots that we also made. This one is in Arabic, and this one targets news and media. This one goes for Nashra. And here The chatbot is different in which it offers users some options, and the user can actually click on those options and go forward. But it also actually supports as well written text language. So here on Amisal, and gives you direct responses and quick responses for it. But what also we can do within the chatbot is just a bit, see the menu, and you have a menu within a menu which you can also reach and you can change. And once you choose different options, you get also different options from the menu. Of course, we've come,
Is it possible to have a filter for a certain time period? Like for example, I want to know articles that happened last week. I don't want the...
Absolutely.
Okay.
So this one was, give me the latest news, but you can tell him, أعطيني الأخبار اللي صارت الأسبوع الماضي، أو أعطيني الأخبار related, even في تعمل أكثر، أعطيني الأخبار related to technology that happened last week.
Okay.
So you can be as specific as you want.
So as if you're creating another section, not just editorials or regional, the regular segments you find in newspaper.
حتى فيك حتى تفتش على خبر معين صار من قبل related to a very specific topic. And specific, and you'll get the response. Basically, it allows you to have any kind of question that you have in mind that you can connect with it, and gives you the proper answer that you would want.
Sorry.
Please.
What is the adoption ratio as to the first contact? So probably someone is excited and is talking to them. How's the graph would go? Is it like everyone's trying it and then drops?
So Nashra is not released yet. That's the part. So I'm showing you something that's not released yet. So Nashra wanted to do a campaign that goes on properly in terms of that. So I cannot give you statistics about the Nashra in particular. But what I find about other chatbots is that people like to converse with it. It's interesting. So you have several types of users. There are the users who are interested to try the chatbot. Okay, and they want to come in and they want to just try it. And you have another type of users. These are the users that want to break the chatbot, right? And they want to come in with the chatbot. That's the aim. And you have the other type of people that want and actually to use your business, to use the use case of the chatbot, which they will actually read what you are telling them. And there's another type of users who are like كتير مستعجلين بدهم الشغلة تبعهم بفوتوا, and they never read what you tell them, and they just ask the question بالطريقة اللي بدهم إياها. So these are the various types of users that actually talk to it with a chatbot. The thing about chatbots is this: every chatbot has a persona, right? So and it is relative to the business that it is being used for. So a chatbot that talks to you in retail is different than the chatbot that does news, and it is different than Siri or Google Assistant or Cortana or all of those. It is very specific to one thing that it does. So if you're looking to have so if you ask here, chatbot تبع نشرة إذا بتسأله عن تيم ما حيجاوبك. It will not respond. So as long as it does its value for you, you will come back.
What about the people that are frustrated to try to book a plane through the Al-Nashra bot?
So here's the things about users, is that sometimes you explain to them what they are. Masalan, because this is tell you exactly what happened with us. We started, and the first chatbot we created was the one that lets you shop for clothes. Now, obviously Fig is not a startup that sells clothes, but that was used to showcase some of the technology, right? So now we created a new chatbot for us that is actually the actual chatbot for Fig, which is more of a PR person / sales that tells people what Fig does, right? I still have some people coming in and asking Fig, where can I find the latest Nike Air Max or something? And even though you tell them, hey, listen, we're not the shop, and some people come back again and just like ask that question in particular, which is cool because people are coming back, and even though they're asking their own questions, but they're coming back.
Can you talk into it? I've seen there is like a recording.
So yeah. So the thing about chatbots is that it is the new interface, right? And this interface is a chat interface. So this chat interface can go between voice or text, or even sometimes images. But depends on what kind of things that you support on the back end of it. So you can do voice in some of the languages, not all. You can do images as well.
Have you tried in Arabic?
Voice?
Yeah. Does it
Not
detect?
yet.
Oh, okay. But you're planning on having this?
Yeah,
feature?
we're working on it.
Okay.
Okay? So there are a lot of benefits for having a chatbot. One of the things that it is reachability. And by reachability, I mean there are 1.1 or 1.2 monthly billion active users on Facebook Messenger. And there are 1.1 billion monthly active users on WhatsApp. That's a huge number of users existing on those platforms. And it's very easy for those users to actually open a chat window with the business that they want to reach. And they reach directly instead of going to their website or going to their app or calling them or having an email. Second is that it can act as a virtual agent. So instead of you being yourself 24/7, 365 days a year, you have a chatbot that is replacing you, right? And chatbots can have multiple personas. So the same company can have multiple chatbots with multiple personas taking on various roles. So it can take on a role of a salesperson, it can take a role of a PR, it can be a lead generator, it can be legal, it can be HR, it can be internal, so it really varies. Conversational commerce. So conversational commerce is when we upgrade from the regular e-commerce that we all know to more of like what you saw in the first video before, which you ask for something and that you get the product that you want directly. And then it gives a company a competitive edge because it's offering the users faster access to information. It's offering users 24/7 availability. It's offering users reachability. So it gives them competitive edge over other companies that doesn't have chatbots. It gives them marketing and engagement beyond clicks. So when we have a post on marketing and we put it on social media, we're looking for likes, we're looking for shares, we're looking for comments, and this is the KPI that we can measure it from. However, here, in the case of a chatbot, you have engagement that is measured by an actual conversation that takes place. So you're inviting people to actually converse with you and have a conversation with you, and that you can measure it at a much higher conversion rate than actually a click or a like that is present on social media. You can actually track the conversation, you can actually do sentiment analysis on the conversation, you can do a lot of analytics that happens on the conversations, and from that conversation you can get to the end point in which you want. You can increase brand loyalty, and by increasing brand loyalty is that any brand that gives its users access quickly, having reachability, having all of the above that we mentioned, users become more attached to that brand. So effectively, this is one of the byproducts of having a chatbot and all of the other benefits to it. And finally, you get to understand your clients. We've been talking a lot about analytics, about analyzing conversations, about analyzing who your clients are, getting into sentiment analysis. All of those will pile up into a dashboard at which you can actually tap into all of those analytics about your conversations. So, what does it take to have a chatbot? First option is you can build it in-house. So you can have a team or technical team, or if yourself are a technical person, you can start learning how to create a chatbot. That takes time, it's costly, it's Second, you can use an existing bot maker platform. There are tons of bot maker platforms that are available out there. You can start learning them. Each has its limitations, each has its capabilities, pros and cons, etc. Depends on your needs. Maybe you can find some. And third, you can outsource. These are your options to having a chatbot there. So, what we do provide is technology that users don't need to learn how to use. Everyone knows how to chat. We're giving businesses the ability to have engagement with their customers beyond clicks, and we're giving them analytics when they want it, the way they want it. Thank you, guys.
Does anyone have any question for Maher?
Yeah. Can you teach it? So, for example, you asked in Arabic, what are the news in Kuwait?
Yeah.
If I asked, for example, what about the capital?
Yeah.
Probably he is going to recognize that you mean Kuwait because Kuwait is like the capital of Kuwait, probably. But maybe he didn't know that. Well, he doesn't know the capital of Kuwait. So he's gonna say, I don't know what you said. Can you repeat? And you're gonna say, well, I meant, what are the news of the capital of Kuwait, which is blah blah blah. So he is gonna register in his database somewhere that this is the part where I learned something new. If someone new comes and asks what are the news for the capital of Kuwait, is he going to know?
So, have you heard of the chatbot that Microsoft released 2 years ago on Twitter, and it was meant to? Yeah, so it turned to be a Nazi chatbot that is racist, right? That swears at people because they learn from the wrong sources. Now, a lot of people will have a conversation with it, but not everyone that talks to a chatbot have a qualified or a valuable data that requires the chatbot to learn from it automatically. So at the first step, there needs to be a filter in which you can filter those. What do you train your chatbot for? And for example, this could be like a very funny thing. Let's say you have a business and you have a chatbot there, and then you write scripts in which you can generate over a million hits to it, telling them that your business sucks, for example. And if that chatbot learns on its own, without filters or without any holes in it, then it would be a disaster, right? So the chatbot learns, the chatbot evolves obviously, but there are filters and steps before it does that.
So what did Facebook do that Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa did not do so that it failed? And what are you trying to do differently?
So, first of all, you cannot hire Siri for your business.
Yeah.
That's one thing. You cannot hire. You can now integrate a Google Assistant within your business as well.
Alexa.
Or Alexa. Or Alexa.
Yeah.
You can integrate those in terms of it. And these become a platform, right? So Alexa is a platform that you can develop for. It has its SDK. Google has API.ai, or now it became Dialogflow, which you can, using Dialogflow, integrate Google Assistant within your business. So that's fine, you can do that. We actually utilize a lot of platforms, depends on the client needs and etc. You can even use IBM and you can use Watson for that. So you can use a lot of platforms to third-party NLUs that can actually let you progress from there. Facebook has WIT that allows you to do the NLU engine. Anyone else? Clear?
I guess we're clear.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, so now for our next speaker, please welcome Marc.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming. My name is Marc El Asmar. I'm a software engineer, I'm a chatbot developer, and the co-founder of PIKI. PIKI is a messenger chatbot that you'll be hearing about it very soon. Not gonna talk about PIKI right now. So what's a bot? You guys heard of bots before? Well, is it a new thing? Is it a new technology? Why is it taking so much importance and funding? And why are big companies, almost every big company is investing in chatbots? Well, chatbots existing a long time ago. You guys heard of Smarter Child, the MSN bot we used to talk to when there was nobody to chat with? We used to send him like random words, random phrases, and it used to reply to us. But that's a chatbot. But what's the difference? Why wasn't it such a big thing back then? It was very limited by its features and capability. These days, we have the processing power, the performance, in order to analyze language, in order to understand humans by just chatting with it or talking to it. You can analyze its voice, its speech, even images. So our AI power got much stronger. So we have the ability to better understand the human through chatting or through a chatbot. So what am I presenting today? We're going to be talking about the Microsoft Bot Framework, its main components, its architecture, its prerequisites to get started, the supported channels to where you can deploy your bot, its testing emulator, how can you make the bot smarter with NLP, and we're gonna take a look on a few examples about UI and UX, and talk about the KPIs that we need to measure in order to have a successful bot.
What can we use other than the Microsoft Bot Framework?
There are a lot of frameworks out there or tools you can use. For example, you can use their own channels, own REST APIs or APIs to build your own bot. But for example, Microsoft Bot Framework it provides us the tools in order to have a simpler way to build our bot.
Okay, so we can deploy it on many channels.
Yes, we're gonna discuss about all of this and why we are using the bot framework. So the bot framework is a platform for building, connecting, testing, and deploying powerful and intelligent bots. It's a set of features and tools Microsoft provided for us as developers in order to easily build and deploy bots. Let's say we want to connect a bot to a messenger, to KIK, to a Slack. We don't need to worry about the connection that's happening between these channels. We can use the tools that they provide us in order to easily configure our bot. It has three main components. The bot builder, which is an open source SDK that currently supports .NET, C# and Node.js. It provides the feature that makes interaction between bots and users much simpler. Here, on the other side, we have the portal, our developer portal and channels. The channels where our user can communicate with our bot. And in the middle, we have the connector, which connects the users or the channels within our application, our bot application. We're gonna dig deeper a bit. We're gonna dig a bit deeper for the bot components, for the bot framework components. We're going to talk about C#. I'm a .NET developer, so we're going to talk about the .NET components. Node is similar, but they have its own classes, its own features to comply with their language best practices. So in C#, as we said, we have the connector. The bot framework connector provides a single REST API that enables a bot to communicate across multiple channels. A dialog helps organize the logic in your bot. So everything in our bot framework is organized within dialogues. We make dialogues, and they are arranged into stacks. Whenever you finish with a dialogue, it's either you invoke a different dialogue on top of the stack, or it's removed. All this communication happens through with the connector and an activity. Every communication within the bot framework protocol is some kind of an activity. The activity handles the information that's being fetched from the user and sends it to the connector where we can handle it in the dialogues. Now, we also have the form flow. Form flow automatically generates the dialogues that are necessary to manage a guided conversation. Let's say, for example, you want to order a burger. So the bot will start asking, what would you like to eat? You're going to say a burger. You ask, what are the components that you need? Would you like sauce, would you like pickles, would you like fries with it? So it's a guided conversation. The form flow makes it easier for us to build these dialogues on top of each other in order to handle these kind of conversations. And we have the state. Let's say the first time you order a chicken or a barbecue burger. We can store some information and user preferences within the state in order to customize the experience and to customize the experience depending on the user's preferences. So the bot builder framework enables your bot to store and retrieve data that is associated with a user. This is the main architecture of the bot framework. Our code goes here. We use the bot builder SDK, as we previously mentioned. On the other side, we have all the different channels that you can connect to. And in between, we have the bot connector service. All the communication is happening through the bot connector service, and it handles whatever channel we are about to speak with. Let's say we want to talk on Kik, on Skype, on Slack. It's as easy as going to the portal, clicking on a button, activating this channel, and now we have access to that channel within our framework. These are some of the prerequisites that we need to get started quickly. For .NET, you will need the Visual Studio 2017. You have to update all the existing extensions and download a template or a bot application template, which is a template Microsoft provided for us to easily get started. The bot connector dialog and the bot connector dialog and the emulator. And these are some of the prerequisites that you need to get started using Node.js. These are the different supported channels on Microsoft Bot Framework. It's going from Cortana, Bing, Skype, to even we can deploy a bot on email, on Kik, Slack, Telegram, Facebook, and so on. These channels you can activate them easily through the portal. So all you have to do is access a developer portal that Microsoft provided for us. You just sign in, you register your bot, you tell it what channels you want to deploy on, and then you code your way. So all you have to do is just activate the channel that you want, connect to it, and you will handle it in your code easy. They also provide us an emulator. Let's say we have a bot. We don't want to deploy it right now. So we needed to test it. We needed to test it, and we don't want to publish it yet. So they provide us a desktop application that allows bot developer to test and debug their bots. It's very convenient and very actually useful. They provide us in a JSON structured messages, whatever communication is happening, and we get all the information that we need in order to easily debug our code. As Alan Turing once said, a computer would deserve to be called intelligent if it could deceive a human into believing that it was a human. Have you guys heard about the Alan Turing test?
Yes.
So you're familiar with it. So it's a test where a machine can be tested in order to, if the machine passes this test, it will be conceived as intelligent or as it has artificial intelligence. But why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this in order to introduce natural language processing. NLP is a technology, or it's something that we use in order to make our bot more human-like. We can make the bot understand. We can make the bot understand natural language. Let's say you're talking to me. Yes, you told me that you want to go have a pizza, or you want to reserve a table at a pizza place. As a human, I will know that your intention is to either reserve or eat a pizza. And what do you want? A pizza place. So how can you make the machine learn? How can you make the machine know what is your intention and where do you want to go, what do you want to do from basic language? This is a little example using Lewis. Lewis is an API. It's an app that Microsoft provided in order to actually configure NLP. It takes a user utterance, which is an example or a phrase a user says, and we can extract intents and entities that correspond to activities in the application's logic. For example, a user said, "Book me a flight to Cairo." For us as humans, what do we understand? We understand that the user wants to book a flight, he wants to travel, and where to Cairo. How can we make the machine understand this? Using Lewis, and by training Lewis, Lewis will be able to send us this kind of message. The query would be like, "Book me a flight to Cairo." Now, the user might have many intentions. He might want to book a flight, he might want to find a flight, he might want to get a reminder. So we teach the bot how to understand what the user wants. In this example, we have many intents. Intents are the user intentions. What does he want to do? We create the intents. We have a location finder intent that, let's say the user wants to find a place, or a reminder, the user that says like, when is my flight? And this is a random intent, which is a food order, ordering food. So what is happening here? The user said, book me a flight to Cairo. Lewis was able to capture that the user's intention was book a flight, and it provided us a score. It provided us with a score. This score is between 0 and 1, and the highest score we get is the user's intention. This score here is nice. So you were able to capture that the user wants to book a flight, and it also captured that Cairo is an entity which is a type of location. Now, what do we have now? As a developer, I was able to retrieve that the users want to book a flight to Cairo. I will receive his intention, some of the entities that we create and we train Lewis to capture from the user, and now we can act upon this. As Sajid Sayed once said, he's the UX director at SA. He's actually now the UX lead at Google. It has been a long journey of humans trying to perfect the mode of communication with computers. We are now at a stage where we have realized that the best and most natural way to communicate with machines is through conversations. But what is a good UX bot? What is a good user experience? What is a good user interface? Having a random bot and with just text, maybe it can be useful in some scenarios, and it might be not useful in others. So what are some of the UXs and UI we need to mention? This is an example of one of the first bots I did. This is Alphonse. Alphonse was a chatbot for my university that helped students. Students were able to talk to Alphonse, get information about their courses, about the university, discover the whole university through Alphonse. They were able to get time for their exams. They could get even hints and tips about what to study for their exams. But look what happened here. So a random user was talking to Alphonse, and he said, he asked me like, where do you live? He asked Alphonse, where do you live? Alphonse said, I live in the cloud. He then started asking me, how old are you? And Alphonse kept answering. He was able to answer most of his queries, but that's not always a good thing. I trained Alphonse to handle the random phrases or the random stuff I used to get from users. But this was a disadvantage from another perspective. Users had so much fun with Alphonse. They were able to communicate with it. He was handling so much queries. But it's not achieving its objective. Most of the users were talking to it just to have fun, because it was a good communication place. So I learned that in this example, having this type of user experience is bad, because Alphonse was meant to help you with your studies, was meant to help you with discovering the university. So as much as fun this is, this even deceives us in our KPIs. This will give us that the users are spending so much time on Alphonse talking to it, and it will give us our session per user time increasing. But it's not increasing for a good objective, it's just for someone who's having fun. This is another example of one of the bots I will show you.
Maybe another workaround would be to create more than one and be directed to Alphonse when someone wires off the conversation to something fun.
It what happened in Alphonse V2. I lowered these stuff, and I stopped answering all these inquiries randomly, and I started suggesting them. I started giving them paths if you want, to lead them to where it's actually useful. So if they ask random stuff, I would tell them that I might not understand what you mean right now, but how about you take a look about some of the new stuff in university, or how about you check the latest exams that you want before. So I started guiding the users to actually get what is beneficial. I used to get so many random questions, you won't even believe it, like شو السكور بحجم والرياضة, what is the weather, or so many random stuff that in the end I had to guide the user. This is one of the examples that where it's a way to guide the user. You can show them in a user-friendly way. It's very nice to actually use emojis while you're texting. It's like you're texting with a friend. You send them emojis, you're talking to them, but you're guiding them. You're providing them buttons. You're providing them pictures. So you will not answer random stuff. Let's say this is a restaurant. This is one of the bots we are making. It's a restaurant booking, or it's a restaurant bot. So the user wants to know what's the menu. You can directly show him in a way where he doesn't have to be distracted by random stuff. And you can use, it's very fun to use funny words, have a character for your bot, make him a persona. For example, Alphonse was this nerdy, Alphonse in the university was this nerdy that knows everything. It had its own character. And here you can have whatever the restaurant wants. You can make a character for your bot. This is another way you can show images. This user wanted to discover my university. So you can provide them with buttons, and in this scenario, these are on Messenger, Facebook Messenger. These are called quick replies. As a developer, it's very annoying. To try to handle what is the user saying. We don't want lowering the user input is always a good thing for us. We don't want to handle these random data we're getting. We don't want to handle these random questions. So I just provided them with a bunch of buttons where they can click, and they will be guided by them. There's no need. I lowered the cost of having me handle all these random data by just giving them an option to be guided through the conversation. This is another type. Specifically in a messenger bot, you are able to open, let's say, a web view within your bot. So, let's say you have a website, you have a form. It's not always fun to type. Typing is not always, in all the scenarios, is good. So sometimes, in order to fill a form, you don't want to text everything, you don't want to type them. So in this example, the user wants to book a restaurant. The bot can handle the queries, the text queries. If you told the bot, I want a table at this restaurant, 8 p.m. tomorrow, the bot will be able to handle this. But not everybody wants to do this. And then you have to provide your phone, your email, your contacts. So one of the stuff is we just created a web view. It pops up within Messenger. You provide them with the form to fill, with guided suggestions. As soon as you click here, it will fetch your name from your phone, your email, your phone number. So this whole form is filled within 3 clicks. It fetches all your information in 3 clicks. And you should, one of the stuff I learned, that you should never ever let the user type a date or input a date. There are so many types of date formats that you have to handle. It's very annoying, it's very frustrating, especially if you're providing these dates for a client or for something. So just show them a picture, show them something there they can easily click on. It's easier for the user, and it's easier for us as developers to have less information that you have to handle. Now we're going to discuss about some of the KPIs that we need to measure in order to have a successful bot. There are so many KPIs. You can get so much information from a simple conversation. You can know what the user is feeling, what is he typing, what his preferences are, how much time he's spending. There are so much data you can get from a simple conversation. But you shouldn't keep an eye on everything in order to estimate or to check how successful is your bot. For example, in a restaurant booking bot, having a user that spends 10 minutes per session or 15 minutes per session on the bot is not a good thing, because the bot should be, this bot is goal completed oriented. In this case, you need to measure what the goals are. let's say in a restaurant booking, your goal is either get a table booked, a delivery sent, or they ask about the menu or to get or order online. So these are some of the goals that you will need to measure. Having an active user that is spending so much time on it is not useful. But on the other hand, KTKarry has a bot. KTKarry has a bot where you can discover its life, her music, and so much stuff. So in that example, having a bot that spends 15 minutes, 20 minutes talking to a KTKarry bot is very useful, because it's what the purpose of the bot is, to have an engagement with the users and keep them within your conversation. So as it is, it all depends on your industry. And you don't always have to complicate things. That, for example, having AI in all of the bots is not always a good thing. I have a bot that you can't input writing in it, because its objective is not typing text in it, but it's using the user interface, the social media is providing for us to have a communication with the user. It's facilitating this interaction, but I don't want him to input text, and he will not benefit from inputting any text. So in that scenario, I disabled the text input from the user. He cannot input any text. But as we previously saw, I can guide him with buttons, carousels, lists, and so on. And that way, in that scenario, you will get less confusion triggers. For example, the users won't be confused on what they are doing, what they want. You will be guiding them. So it all depends on what you're doing. You don't have to necessarily always complicate things. Having a simple bot in a specific scenario that only has buttons, for example, or answers only yes or no questions, might be $1 million bot without knowing. So it's not always a good thing to complicate, or having NLP, AI, image recognition. It all depends on your scenario and on your industry. So thank you, guys. Any questions?
So where did you have difficulties, the most difficulties or the most challenging?
One of the most challenges I had was handling user, or guiding them, or learning what the user wants. I had to create several versions of the same bot. The first bot I made, the first ever bot I made was, I used to wake up in the morning, for example, and I used to sometimes go to class without checking my emails to see if the teacher is absent. So in that same semester, I went like 3 times, and the teacher was absent. So I I created a simple bot. When I used to wake up, I just tell it, are there any absent teachers? The bot will go scan through our website, fetch the data, get me who is absent, and I will know. So later on, I created Alphonse for my university, and that's where most of the challenges started. Because the first bot, it was just me talking to. Later on, I had hundreds of users communicating with Alphonse, with different languages, with different thoughts. People talking in Arabic, like the Arabic language, and people talking in the Amasan Arabic. So these stuff were very difficult to handle, which I overcame by enhancing the UX and the UI. A chatbot is as good as its UX and UI. You won't have a successful chatbot if the interaction with the user is poor. It's built on top of existing social media platforms. They don't have to download any applications. They spend most of their time, and every person spends like, forgot how much time on Facebook per day or WhatsApp per day. So you build on top of existing stuff. You are reaching out to users where they are. So you need to be able to know how they are thinking, what they want, what is their objective. A lot of people, they just want to ruin your bot. They just want to keep talking to it until you don't have any answers. So you should be able to handle and be prepared to handle all these scenarios. This was one of the biggest challenges. Anything else?
Any other question?
Have you tried Bunkhouse bot?
Yeah, it's very simple. For example, Bunkhouse is what It's very simple. It's very, there's no complications in it. You can get useful information from it by just clicking some of the buttons or images they have. They don't have, for now, like complicated features. I didn't see any web views. I didn't see like list templates. I didn't see some of the advanced stuff. But it is achieving what they want, I guess. So for me, it's a simple, useful bot.
Mark, why did you choose the Microsoft Bot framework over other frameworks?
Well, because I'm in everything I do, I'm Microsoft oriented, so I'm on .NET developers, I'm on Azure, I'm using everything related to Microsoft. So it was a very convenient thing too. So from my Visual Studio, in one click, I publish on Azure, I communicate to the SDS, I talk to Lewis API, so it's everything.
It's one ecosystem.
It's an ecosystem, exactly. It's a very good ecosystem.
What about deploying to Facebook now?
Yes.
Okay,
well, have you guys heard about what happened with Cambridge Analytica and the stuff happened? Well, and bots, this is one of the biggest issues that you need to handle. Let's say you sold a bot to a client, or a client they purchased a bot from yourself. Who is the person to blame if something happened? For example, Facebook might just block your page if your bot gets a lot of spam reports. Facebook, even if you have 50 million users, they can simply block your page and not even talk to you. They have very their support is very annoying with this stuff. If you get blocked, it's a big disaster. So if you sold a bot for a client, what will happen now? How can you avoid these? So what's happening right now in Facebook is that we can't deploy any bots right now. And we are having so much limitations. Let's say you had previous features you can use. We might have a lot less now on. Facebook is changing a lot in their platform in terms of privacy, in terms of everything. So as of for now, we cannot deploy any new bots to new pages, or any app, or any Facebook app in general.
Yeah.
So this is one of the very annoying things we might face.
I think this was one of the questions that the Congress should have asked Mark.
I don't think they know about bots.
Anything else? I talked a lot about Facebook Messenger. It's because my main focus is on Messenger, because users in Lebanon, they mostly spend their time on Facebook, and because we don't have yet access to WhatsApp bots. WhatsApp API for bots is not opened yet. So once this gets open, it will be a different level. A whole thing will change. You will have access to 2 billion new users. Not definitely new, but you will have much access to users. So for now, that's why I'm focusing on Messenger platform. Companies might use a lot of Slack bots. For example, in my startup, we use a Slack bot. We communicate with a bot for some tasks. For example, we automate some tasks where, let's say someone in my team finished a specific task. A bot will communicate on Slack and tell us that this person already finished this task. What do you want to do next? So it depends on your industry, what you want to do. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.